Hi guys, Jack with Brocq here from Truck Assist Racing with another episode of Supercars 101 where we make the complex simple.
Supercars 101 brought to you by NTI, Australia's specialist insurer.
So what is recovery and why do we need it? With these cars, they're a purpose-built race car. They don't have all the installation that normal road cars have. We don't have air cons. We can't put our windows down. It's just a bare minimum chassis with the engine heat all going through the firewall into the cabin, which gets close to 55, 60 degrees on the really hot days. So it's very important for us to try and keep cool and recover during the event as much as possible. So pre-event, it's probably the most crucial part. If you're not prepared before you actually get in these cars, you're never going to make it through the race in one piece and do a great job. So food and hydration is where it all starts. Try and get as much carbs and good juicy foods with a lot of electrolytes in there. On top of that, we also jump in the ice bath, which is a nice cool little pool the boys put together for us at the race weekend. It's around 15 degrees there, so it's nice and cool, and that's just a good way to bring our core body temperature down before we go jump in the race car. And then out in the grid as well, we've got some pretty cool stuff. We've got a little ice vest that we wear, and that's another thing, just try and keep that core body temperature as low as possible before we get going in the big race. And even down to the little things, like the guys put over a windscreen shield over the front windscreen, is just to try and keep as much temperature out of that car as possible. Our engine and exhaust are that close to the firewall that the heat going through that engine back into our cabin is quite crazy. It's actually quite warm. They actually burnt my foot at the start of the year. So the guys do a good job as they can, try and keep the weight down. They put as much insulation in there as they can, but it's not to the same level that we get in your normal everyday road car. So with all that heat going into the cabin, we use what we call a cool box to manage the temperature of us when we're driving around on track. So the cool box is basically a carbon fibre box purposely built by the Tickford racing crew here that holds a bunch of dry ice in there, that has a massive radiator in there to cool the water down, that pumps into our cool suit vest, which helps basically drag the body temperature away from us and keep us cool. We also have a dry ice vent for our helmet air, and that pumps fresh ventilated air into our helmet, and also gives us clean breathing air as well to try and avoid any dizzy spells or anything silly like that from CO2 poisoning. At the really hot events, we run an extra couple of ducts that feed air down into our footwell and around our body as well to try and keep us a little bit cooler, and that's just natural air from the outside. We try not to run that window at every event as it affects our aero and our straight line speed. In addition to all of that, we have a nice big drink bottle there, about 3 litres, which pumps water up through our helmet, and at a push of a button, we can squirt that into our mouth and keep us nice and hydrated throughout the event. We can lose up to 3 kilos in water weight over a big distance, so that's why it's so important to keep us hydrated. Over the really big races like Bathurst, we actually have the ability to refill that drink bottle during the race. So for people like me who drink a lot, it's very important and helps us get to the end of the race. Post-race recovery is probably the most crucial part for us as a driver, especially in those big long race weekends where we've got to back it up again on the Sunday with another 250k race. As soon as we get out of the car, it's really crucial for us to start hydrating straight away and get as many electrolytes in as possible. With that as well, we go jump straight in the ice bath and start cooling that core body temperature down. So as soon as we can get that down, it's really going to help us recover and be 100% for that next day. With that, we also do our food. It's really crucial to get a good meal in before we go racing again the next day. And as well as that, if you have the opportunity to, you get a massage as well. Just try and get any sore spots out of the body and make sure you're as sharp as possible for the following day. After all of that, mental recovery is probably the next biggest thing. You want to try and get back to your hotel as soon as possible and basically just unwind, kick back and get a really good night's sleep. Well, that's a wrap on this week's episode of Supercars 101. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. If there's something you guys want to really know more about, let us know with the hashtag Supercars101 on the social networks.
Supercars 101 brought to you by NTI, Australia's specialist insurer.